Rainforests have inspired humans for millennia, and I was no exception to this when I visited my first one in person in 2020. Hearing the howling of monkeys in the distance and taking in the lush forest all around me left me at a loss for words as I fought the urge to go off and explore. I was in first grade when I first learned about the rainforests. My class was doing a play about the different animals, and I was cast as a monkey. The play was about biodiversity and conservation, topics that at the time were far too big for me to understand when my biggest concerns were whether or not my mom packed Capri Sun in my lunchbox or if I'd make it home on time to watch my favorite cartoons after school. The three main points that I'll be covering today are first, an overview of what rainforests are, second, what makes them important globally, and third, what the leading causes of their destruction are. Rainforests are the greatest places on Earth. To begin, I'd like to explain the difference between a forest and a rainforest. According to Christina Nunes, National Geographic writer and member of the National Association of Science Writers, they are typically made up of four key layers: the emergent, upper canopy, understory, and forest floor. There are two types of rainforests. First, the tropical rainforests, such as the Amazon, is characterized by having a warm, wet climate with no substantial dry season. They're typically found 10 degrees north or south of the equator and have average annual temperatures of about 64 degrees minimum and receive an annual rainfall of at least 66 inches. Many celebrities have spoken out in support of rainforest conservation. For example, Leonardo DiCaprio and Jeff Bezos partnered to launch a $200 million fund to protect the Amazon. The temperate rainforests, such as the Hoh rainforest that we have here in Washington state, only occur in a few regions in the world. They are woodlands with a temperate climate, heavy rainfall, and have many trees but differ from tropical rainforests in that they have one or two very common major tree types. Now that we know a little bit about the two types, let's talk about why they're important. They store large amounts of carbon dioxide, which reduce greenhouse gas emissions. They also absorb heat, preventing that heat from reaching the atmosphere. They produce about 20% of the world's oxygen and regulate temperatures globally by absorbing solar radiation. They're also biodiversity hotspots. They're abundant in nutrients, energy, and have a favorable climate with lots of precipitation. They have a wide range of habitats. For example, the canopy structure allows lots of options for plants to grow and animals to call home. The temperatures and water require organisms to spend less time acquiring resources and allows them to spend more time interacting with each other and reproducing. They also add water to the atmosphere through transpiration, which is the process by which plants release water from their leaves during photosynthesis. This moisture contributes to the formation of rain clouds, which is released back down to the forest through rain. The moisture generated in rainforests contributes to rainfall elsewhere on the planet. Did you know that bananas come from rainforests? It's estimated that 80% of the world's diet originated from rainforest plants. According to the U.S. Cancer Institute, 70% of plants used in the treatment of cancers are found only in the rainforests. These plants are also used for the creation of muscle relaxants, steroids, and insecticides. As you've heard, there are lots of reasons why the rainforest should be protected. Let's talk about some of the threats that they face. Deforestation, which is the clearing, destroying, and removal of trees, leads to habitat fragmentation, which is the breakup of habitat into smaller, more isolated pieces. This reduces forest area, increases isolation, and subjects fragmented patches to drying winds that increase tree falls. It also alters the hydrological cycle and contributes to carbon emissions. Overexploitation is also a problem. This occurs when harvesting exceeds reproduction. Trees are logged for timber, flooring, furniture, and other items, and then they're also cut down and burned to generate electricity in power plants, as well as turned into pulp for the paper industry. Clear cutting also occurs to make space for ranch land, which is used for cattle farming and crops, particularly soy. Like the bullfrog and northern pike here in Washington state, invasive species also pose a threat. They cause extinction of native flora and fauna by reducing habitat and food sources. They also introduce unfamiliar diseases, cause damage and die off to trees. The increased soil degradation from non-native flora also reduces groundwater levels as well. According to Antonio Nobre, former researcher at the National Institute of Amazonia Research, who holds a master's degree in biology and a PhD in earth science, we're at a tipping point. Air in the Amazon, which has always been humid, is drier than ever. It makes the forest more flammable and results in less rain, and drier forests result in more fires. Rains arrive later and later each year, and carbon sequestration has diminished. We've discussed a lot of information today. Let's summarize what we've learned. Rainforests typically are comprised of 4 layers: the emergent, upper canopy, understory, and forest floor. 2 types of rainforests exist: the tropical and temperate rainforests. They provide global climate stability, and the moisture produced in them is believed to contribute to rainfall elsewhere on the planet. They're vital in the food and medicine production industries, and due to deforestation, overexploitation, rainforests are disappearing or crying out for help as they disappear at an alarming rate. Invasive species and climate change also play a role in their destruction. Rainforests are the greatest places on Earth. I'd like to close with a quote from Robert Swan. "The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it." Thank you.